The first half of the New York Mets season is officially over. We are actually technically now 82 games into the season at the time of recording, right before the Pittsburgh Pirates series just came off a split with the Atlanta Braves. We want to go ahead and give you a little bit of a State of the Union about the New York Mets, the first half of the season, as well as predicting what we think is going to go on in the second half. We have the trade deadline coming up. We have big games. We got the playoffs, hopefully, and World Series aspirations. So many things to talk about in today's video. It's a long one, so buckle in, sit down, sit back, relax, enjoy the episode, and let's get going into it. You guys know the drill. Make sure you're following us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel if you want to see the video version of this. And if you are listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. And don't forget, we've got merch. Go head on over, link in the description. Go buy up some Mets'd merch. We really do appreciate it. If you ever do buy anything, make sure you send us some pictures. We'd love to repost that. Otherwise, let's get going talking about the Mets. I'll tell you what, James, after that split, you saw the Subway episode the other day. If you guys did not catch it, it's out there. Go give it a look, give it a listen. Feel a lot better after splitting that series with the Braves, because even though we were still completely okay, losing those first two games in that series, after getting swept in Atlanta, after having a bad series in Philly, I was getting close to snapping.
Yeah, there was a moment where we were we were meltdown adjacent, not a full meltdown, but after those first two games, especially like feeling like you were playing okay and losing close Monday and Tuesday, you're like, now, why can't we do this? Like, now what is actually the problem here? Like, bad games from the bullpen again, complete lack of timely hitting. It's like something has to give. And luckily, the thing that is the calling card of this team that kind of has been at times the first half, but not all the way, but still looking forward, I think is the calling card of this team. Power and just strength of a lineup where you can just kind of go out there and just beat your way to a victory. I feel like beating their way to a victory in that game on Wednesday is what kind of woke this team up, played a really clean game on Thursday. Even though it doesn't wash away losing 10 out of 11 games, you do just feel better as now you head to the road again, then come back home, and then get ready for the All-Star breaks. I think this team, it's a big deal for this team to feel good going into that break, especially given all they've accomplished in the first half. Still having one of the better records in all of baseball. And like that's now again still being back in first place, while it still doesn't really matter much in the moment. It's just good feelings to have in the back of your mind that while we have done a lot, we do have something minor at least to show for it.
Definitely. And we had Frankie Montas come back. He looked good so far in his first start. Mark Vientos is coming back in Pittsburgh this weekend. Mets, while they're having some pitching injuries, are also getting back some of their bigger names that they have been missing, which is something nice. We even got Kodai Senga updates that he's
Good
looking
news.
Pretty good so far. They're hoping to get him out to rehab soon, shortly in the next week or two, I think they were saying, if things continue to progress forward like they have. So while we do lose Griffin Canning for the season with a torn Achilles, which is just absolutely brutal news for Griffin Canning, the guy signed a $4 million contract with the Mets. We know that he was the worst pitcher in baseball last year, came to the Mets. They pulled DeSeverino and Manaea on him. He was a guy who was going to continue to be a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball when it looked like his career path was a little bit murky. Absolutely sucks to see that he got that injury. It was devastating.
Yeah, it was devastating, especially because of how, while there have been some ups and downs with Griffin Canning, just the reliability of being there every fifth day, which was the biggest reason we signed him. While he was, again, air quotes, the worst pitcher in baseball last season, he still put forth about 150 innings. We signed him for those innings. To get 150 innings for $4 million in modern baseball is truthfully a marvel. The fact that the Braves were too cheap to even entertain that will always be something that perplexes me. But I think that the Canning out, the Montas in is kind of like a beautiful metaphor for the way this Mets season has gone, because while heading into the season, everybody was petrified of Griffin Canning pitching every fifth day. We were all pleasantly surprised. Heading into the spring training, Montas getting injured, waste of money. Montas setback, waste of money. Montas rehab assignment. David Stern's disaster. Frankie Montas steps on the mound against the Braves, but pretty good. I think that's kind of a beautiful thing. And now the fact that we signed him also more money than Griffin Canning, 4 times more money, before what we were hoping was reliability and a little bit of upside. We saw a taste of that, and that started against the Braves. I think we should be encouraged about that. And also with Senga's injury news being decent, basically never stopping throwing. Like, we're not that far away from a somewhat reliable 5 in this rotation again. It shouldn't be too far off.
Yeah, and the one thing that we're just still kind of waiting to hear more about is Sean Manaea because of the slight setback. But all the optics and the words that have been used by the team, it seems like it really is just a little bit of a 48, 72-hour setback. There doesn't seem to be any sort of panic, per se, with Sean Manaea for this current season at the moment.
Totally. And I do think that we've all been scarred as Mets fans over the years. But whenever we hear good things and good optics and good words from the team, it's an immediate distrust. I put out a tweet earlier this week when that Manaea setback happened. after I had a few cold ones on the beach. So hand up on that one. But I was like over under 50 innings for Sean Manaea this year. And my overwhelming responses were under. A lot of it from fantasy baseball people, because that's a lot of my following as well. But I did have that first inclination, that first gut reaction, be like, this is not good for Sean Manaea. It does feel bad. But if the team keeps saying it's good, we have no choice to believe them. Then suddenly you get, again, Manaea and Kodai back in this rotation. Manaea, Kodai, David Peterson, Frankie Montas, Clay Holmes. Especially now, knowing what we know about Peterson and Holmes, like you're pretty comfortable with that five moving through a season, still having Blackburn to mix in and still having Tyler McGill to mix in when he hopefully getting okay news on him too. That this might not be the longest absence ever. Like it's not sky is falling stuff for this rotation. Even getting Blake Tidwell back and call back up,
to mention that
he has shown through his couple spot starts this season that there's something there. And I think it's interesting that the Mets trust him enough to be like, gut reaction, you're on the team. Like you're going to get at least 2 turns this rotation while we get stronger here. Because we do want to see what you have if you can kind of give us a little bit more.
Yeah, Blade definitely getting the call up is exciting, and that they keep going to him, especially when Noel McLean's been pitching well. We know that there's some hype around the Mets pitching prospects right now with McLean. Sproat, I think, is still very up and down, a little bit shaky right now, but there have been signs of maybe figuring it out, being a little more consistent. And then Tong is just the freak in the minors that the sky's the limit right now with this kid. Like anything could happen this season. I wouldn't be surprised if he was called up at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go to AAA and they just keep him in AA the whole year. Like the levels of possibility are all over the place, but the fact that they do keep calling Blade Tidwell's name is, I think, extremely encouraging, especially because he's got that big arm. And for a Mets team, that bullpen right now feels like the biggest concern, even though Dedniel was just absolute money and he seems totally back. Maybe Blade, at the worst, becomes a multiple inning guy out of the bullpen this current season for the New York Mets, which would also be very valuable.
Yeah, and I think I think the dexterity is something that David Stearns, his Mets team, are going to go with, that we have gone with. And we've even seen, still want to talk a little more rotation, but just seeing the way that, as we dubbed it pre-season, like in spring training, the glob of chaos, what they've been able to do this season between, of course, Bond and Kranick, and then Brandon Waddell out of nowhere at times. And then you have guys like last night, Austin Warren. And I mean, let's give me some other glob of chaos guys.
Jonathan Pintaro came up from AA. They said you were in the Pioneer League last year playing for the Glacier, like Rough Rider, some crazy fucking name. And now you're in the majors from AA as a 27-year-old. Obviously didn't, necessarily go the best route there, but they've tried him. They called up Chris Davinsky.
Davinsky's been okay. Justin Garza. I mean, Tyler Zuber didn't have a good appearance, but still, Ty Adcock actually had some good appearances. Like we've seen that it's kind of the exact plan that we liked going into the season, where we have Edwin Diaz and Reed Garrett, and we trust both of them. We did trust Dedniel Nunez a lot more than we trusted him last. Now we might be starting to trust him again. AJ Minter was great. Him going out for the year, I think, is a loss that we have felt really strongly, but haven't.
Is it officially a year? Do we know? Or
yeah, he's out for the entire year.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was
Minter's not coming back. And then Budo really turning a corner. Brazoban being really good to start, now not really good. I asked you this the other day, but if you guys listening to this, Mets fans, again, as of Friday afternoon when we're recording this, you wouldn't believe how low Jose Budo's ERA is this season. It's 2.59. The guy's been at 2.59. A lot of the runs he's given up, I know, have been inherited. I know that's been the big bugaboo for him. But the fact that in terms of people that he's put on base coming around to 2.59 ERA through the first half of the season, like that's a reliable middle reliever. So if Dedniel can finally turn this corner, Brooks Raley's working rehab assignments, we'll have him back right after the All-Star break. You add one reliever at the trade deadline to this group, and then maybe you find a way to get one of these starters in the pen. Something that at times this season has definitely been, it was a strength, still is a strength statistically, but has felt like a weakness lately. Like this can then be a strength again as you go to the playoff race. I do think that's a testament to the chaos that David Stern has invited here and what we've been able to do inside of that chaos.
Remember when people were calling for Jose Budo to be DFA'd, and we caught so much crap for saying he's too good to DFA, you can't get rid of him? Every single team will put in a waiver claim for this guy in the month of June. After that rough May, he's pitched 11 2/3 innings so far, 3 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 0 ERA. Like he's attacking. And that's one thing that we've always said about Jose Budo. The fastball's up to 97 again. He's throwing that slider and it's working because he's getting ahead in the count. He's able to use the changeup. Like that's the Jose Budo that we wanted to see this year. Same thing with Stanek too. He's been a lot better of late too. While we've had some scary moments with him earlier in the month when we were on the slide, now he's been mixing in that sweeper. Has the splitter gotten a whiff yet, James?
I don't believe so. I'm looking at some Budo June changes pitch mix wise. And the big thing for Budo has been more fastballs, just going out and attacking. That's the thing. And also more trust in that changeup, which is his pitch. And the fact that I said it to you the other night. Where it feels like he's pitching mean again. Like he's pitching confident. Like he's gritting his teeth out there. Seeing these guys again, because relievers is always going to be up and down. It's very hard to get very. There's like what? How many consistent relievers do you think exist in Major League Baseball right now? 23? Okay,
not even
way under. Yeah, 11, 14, something like that. Like if you have 2 on your team, like you're doing much better than most other teams. So I think it's a good thing right now that we do have 2 of those guys. Because also, like I caution you guys, Reed Garrett. Like I know it's been bad. I think it will be fine. He came out as an experience. He pitched really well again. So I do think that that's where. And Brazoban, the guy who we were skeptical of, now it's kind of hit the skids like that. That's just how it goes, up and down, up and down. But I do think that, like Sam going to drop the same line. Like the chaos that David Stearns invited to his bullpen was organized and it was intentional. And I do think they're doing a really good job of managing that. Similar to the rotation, again, like the depth that was built. I know Paul Blackburn's gotten a lot of shit, and I don't really want Paul Blackburn pitching every 5th day for my team either.
No,
but those last couple games that he pitched. The Mets didn't lose because of Paul Blackburn. They didn't win because of Paul Blackburn either, but at least he's able to go out there against good offense, kind of like fuck around for a couple innings, like make it not the easiest thing in the world to torch him. It's just like you need guys to step up and do things you might not be expecting over the course of 162 if you want to get where you want to get. Like it's not going to be perfect. It's not MLB The Show. We're also just simply not the Dodgers. We're having rotation struggles of their own right now, but it's just you got to sometimes like throw a guy out there and kind of cross your fingers, hope for the best.
Hey, this episode is sponsored by Huel, so I'm going to take a sip while Todd Father tells you about Huel. And Todd Father, you asked me, when should I drink it?
Yeah,
what did I tell you?
Really, it's the best thing for you. Before a workout, after a workout, whatever you're feeling. Like sometimes I'll just drink this just because it tastes that good. The flavor is very good. It's going to make you feel, it's going to fill you up too. Good protein, and it's very appetizing. So for you people out there who are starting to work out or have been, drink this. You're going to feel very much energized and very much full, which is a great thing.
Yeah, people that are having problems, not having enough time to eat their meals, Huel for you. Or a little post-workout protein punch, Huel for you. Start saving time and money without compromising your nutrition today with the FT offer for new customers. 15% off using the code FAL at Huel.com. 15% for new customers using FOUL at Huel.com. See our description for the terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition.
Yeah, and with the process that the Mets have and the guys that they go after and the archetype that they go after, they have the ability to kind of be these, who the fuck are these guys? How did they pitch this well? And they also have the ability, as we know, the Mets lead the league in walks, to just walk everybody like we have. Like, it's very volatile.
Yeah, and again, I think the one big miss of this group from this season was Jose Castillo, the lefty. But now we've called up Colin Poche, who's had some major success in his career, has dealt with some injuries, some ups and downs. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either way. If Colin Poche either comes here, gets lit up and is cut in a week, or if Colin Poche becomes a somewhat reliable second lefty in this bullpen through the second half of the season.
I think the Mets are doing something crazy right now that you don't see too often in baseball. I think they have made a major league roster change every day for the last 9 or 10 days in a row, all with pitching and guys getting hurt and this and that. They have cycled through, I believe, the most pitchers in Major League Baseball this year. They're up to 31 different players at the time of recording that have thrown a pitch in the majors this year. One of them is Jared Young, but he still did it. 30 actual pitchers. That is insane, and it's June 27th.
I mean, you could just feel the turbulence with this team, this pitching staff right now, based on Friday when we're recording this before the Mets headed out to Pittsburgh. They did a roster move tweet. The Mets always do a roster move tweet with a nice little graphic whenever they make some changes. It's a 2-picture roster move tweet. Griffin Canning, Blade Tidwell, Colin Poche, Mark Vientos, Austin Warren, Jared Young, Richard Lovelady, Jose Azocar. All those players have to be mentioned in the tweet because that's how much how much up and down is going on with this Mets team right now.
Jose Azocar?
Yeah, brought him back. Minor league deal. We got him back.
Okay.
Our long national nightmare is over. Jose Azocar is back with the Syracuse Mets, ready to go. Because now he's we also have Jankowski on this team now, which I really swung under the radar too. But he's kind of become the pinch runner instead of Luis Angel Acuna on this roster, while also being able to be now we can pinch hit for Tyrone Taylor late in games, and Jankowski can come in and actually play center field. It's just this is the beauty of what we've talked about with this team and David Stearns a lot this season, last season, where we've never dealt with this before. We've never had an adult in the room making these decisions from a Mets executive standpoint. And the fact that there are so many of these microtransactions happening every single day to add this and that to the roster, whatever it may need, it's beautiful. The winning on the margins this team has done is why they are in first place at the halfway point in the season. And we can hang our hats on that.
Let's go ahead and move the conversation now to the offense first half of the year. It's been a little bit up and down, obviously, with how it's very top heavy. I mean, there's just no way around it. This is a top heavy lineup. But we're going to start with the $700 million man, of course, Juan Soto. the promised child, the prodigal son. I mean, he is. We've seen it now. We're starting to see the Juan Soto that we paid all that money for. What he's been able to do in the month of June. You mentioned it last night on the Train podcast. It's the best month that a Mets player has basically ever had. He's going off. He's got 19 homers on the year. He's got the most walks in Major League Baseball with 67. The on base is about to be 400. The OPS is 2 points away from 900. So close. But this is the Juan Soto that we've been waiting for. He's stealing bases. He's having fun. He's Soto shuffling again. It took a minute. As it should. He is the highest paid player in sports history. All sports, ever. No one has gotten a contract like him. Shocker, it took him a second to feel comfortable and get his legs underneath him and be like, okay, go back to playing baseball. Now that he has, it's incredible what this guy can do and how much he changes his team. He can just win you games on his own.
And he did that a couple times this series. Like, I don't think he necessarily won the game on his own on Wednesday against the Braves, the one that kind of reset this whole thing, kind of let us exhale. Same with the Saturday game against the Phillies. Like, he kind of just said, like, fuck it, I'm going to be better. And that's the beautiful thing about Juan Soto. Like, that's why you go out, spend all that money for players like Juan Soto. And the one thing that people are still talking about a lot with Juan Soto is the massive struggles with running the scoring position. The fact that that's kind of something he has not been able to get over yet. But I still will caution Mets fans. I think that's something that's going to turn around soon. Like, there's just no way, based on everything that Juan Soto's doing otherwise or under the hood, that this can keep happening. Like, Juan Soto is a 40% hard hit rate runs the scoring position. It's above league average. Juan Soto has many walks as he has strikeouts or runners in scoring position. Juan Soto has a 115 batting average on balls in play at runners in scoring position.
That's crazy.
That would be by far the lowest batting average on balls in play any hitter has ever had. Ever. History of baseball. Pitchers have higher BABIPs than that when they used to hit. And all of that has accumulated to this 138 ugly number with runners in scoring position. It's why his RBI total is so low despite now having more home runs than Pete Alonso. Like, I do think that there is something to that, the fact that there's a lot of pressure on Juan Soto. It was hard for him to kind of come out of the shell at times early this season. But now as we're seeing him come out of the shell, there really is no doubt that the hitter as good as Juan Soto won't become to be the guy that we trust that situation. I think there was the anonymous athletic poll about a month ago with game 7 in the World Series with the game on the line, pitchers, who's the one guy you least want to face? And the overwhelming answer was still Juan Soto. So while Joe from Massapequa might not trust Juan Soto with the game on the line, Major League Baseball players are the ones who are like, that's not the guy I want to face with the game on the line, the most tense situations. I think that is a very telling thing and also should be a good reason to breathe a sigh of relief, Mets fans, if you're worried about Juan Soto's performance with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, I know a lot of people get very frustrated with his patience at the plate, but that's what makes him so great. He is the toughest at bat in Major League Baseball in terms of how patient he is, how he will not expand the strike zone very often. Obviously, with 2 strikes, he protects a little bit more. That's where you can get him to chase, but that's part of protecting. You think the pitch is going to be a strike, it wasn't. You swung at it, whatever. But even with the struggles, like you mentioned, with the runners in scoring position, 16.7% walk rate, 16.7% K rate with runners in scoring position. It's awesome. Like, at some point, the hits are going to have to fall. The stuff that you all just said, he's too good of a hitter to continue. A 115 BABIP is unfathomable. That doesn't make any sense.
No, and this all come at a time where it does feel like Juan Soto has been actively adjusting this whole season, like we've talked about. Like, he's kind of at the same time trying to revert back to his old style of contact while also shortening his swing, the shortest it's ever been since we've tracked it on Baseball Savant in his entire career. So there are things happening with Juan Soto right now where he is trying to, because I think he did this so well last year with the Yankees. I think he's probably trying to do this in a way too with Citi Field, where he knows he's so smart and he's so cerebral. He wants to play to his surroundings. He knew last year the way to get the most production out of his talents, he had to pull the ball more than he ever had in his career, and he did that. Now this year, I think he's trying to become the hitter he once was, which would be a little bit better of a play, I think, in Citi Field. Now we are starting to see that, but maybe, I don't know, it just does seem like it's that with the comfortability, of course, his relationship with Starling Marte, the building relationship with Francisco Lindor. It seems like it's coalescing, and he is right now. Over the last month, he's been basically the best hitter in baseball. He's got better stats than Judge, better stats than Ohtani, better stats than
Cal Raleigh.
Best stats than Cal Raleigh. Like, but he's right now, he's breaking the ex-Woba chart on Baseball Savant for his last 100 plate appearances rolling average. So it's happening, and this is why you spend the money on a guy like this, because he can single-handedly, the same way an ace can be, people call him a stopper. Like, you have a losing streak, but then, you had DeGrom on the mound, the losing streak, good chance to end tonight. Soto could do this by himself basically once a week. He can win you a game. That enough should be able to elevate the whole team. And like we saw in that game on Wednesday, it kind of did.
What about his batting average, though, James? It's only 257.
I know. I mean, we should have done a commemorative, Michael K. Memorial Media Marvel for Brandon Tierney for that horrific take. But I'm not
bad.
we have too much to talk about this episode to even give that the light of day.
Also, just for conversation standpoint, this has really nothing to do with what's going on. The guy who was sitting behind us last night, who was just giving it to Soto the entire game, I'm like, you have a son. It's your duty to not be this stupid in front of your son.
I had to interject.
James scolded him. He was like, what are you talking about? He's like, Pete Alonso should have got paid $700 million. Like, what are you saying?
You'll know anything about contract archetypes, bro. But that was a classic. That guy was a classic Joe from Massapequa. I'm sure that guy.
His son knew ball, who was like 8.
Yeah, his son did know some ball. But I think that's just, we're going to keep having those conversations about Soto because we just know that's how it works in New York. That's how it works with Lindor for years. That's how it worked with Pete all of last year until he hit the 1 home run.
That's how it worked with A-Rod, even though he was amazing with the Yankees. That's how it's worked with anybody who's ever gotten paid a lot of money. I mean, for a while, Bryce Harper was considered overrated because he was getting paid so much money. And then you look back and you're like, oh, yeah, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, people, whenever there's this amount of money involved, people are never going to be satisfied with what they see because they expect that you should get a hit or a home run every single time you step to the plate. When you fail, what do we pay you all this money for? It's like, this game's really hard, guys. He's doing it pretty well still.
Kratz, real talk. I do not carry cash around me. But what I do carry around on my phone is Cash App.
Easy peasy. Like I said before, anytime Scott can pay for the tab, that is good. And it's always right there. Fast, easy, always available.
Yeah. Oh, my credit card's not working. Or, oh, I didn't bring cash with me. There's no more alligator arms. Do you have your phone? Most people have their phone. So use Cash App. It's secure and safe. There's no waiting around. It is a super, super easy sign-up process. You can sign up quicker than you can listen to Kratz and I talk about Cash App. For a limited time only for the FT fam, new Cash App users can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, no catch. Just download Cash App and sign up. Use our exclusive referral code TERRITORY in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App.
Sure. And then, just to get to the rest of this Mets lineup, I think the beauty in what this lineup has been the last couple of games, they've actually played well, and what we hope it can be is finding any kind of production we possibly can out of the bottom of the order. That's been one of the biggest reasons for the struggles. It's one of the biggest reasons for the losing streak, where once we get after Jeff McNeil, who we'll talk about because he's had an amazing season, Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, Alonso, McNeil, great top 5. Once you get past there, and it's the Vientos, it's going to be Vientos now back on Friday, Baty, Mauricio, Torrens, was Acuna for a while, Starling Marte. We suddenly get to a spot where we haven't really gotten any consistency out of any of those guys. Jared Young for the last month and a half, and much to your guys' chagrin. Tyrone Taylor. There's been no consistency, Francisco Alvarez, out of that group. That's the thing that's going to change this Mets team as much as anything else at this point. So we, I guess, might be in the minority where we're somehow pretty confident in this rotation, this bullpen, as we just talked to you guys about for the first 15 minutes of this. And I probably will find a way to talk about it more towards the end. Someone down there has to step up, as simply as put, because I think right now, ironically, from where we started the season, that's probably where David Stearns is looking at the trade deadline. That's kind of where it lines up to get the impact performer, get Eugenio Suarez, get someone who can get down that order and mash, be someone that lengthens this. Because ironically, we are having the same problems the Yankees had last season with the Judge and Soto at the top.
It's the exact same thing.
We have a few more good hitters than they had at that time last year. A lot more consistency, especially with Nimmo the way he's hit, and of course Lindor and McNeil. Because I'm assuming Pete and Alonso, Pete and Soto are technically the Judge Soto comparison right there. But somebody 6 through 9 has to get more consistent. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know how it's going to happen. Someone has to figure out a way to become a consistently above average hitter, or else we are not going to be able to beat the teams we want to beat to get to and win a World Series.
I think there's 2 things that need to happen, and I can't believe I'm going to say this. One, I think right now Starling Marte should probably be playing a little bit more, and I think now with Mark Vientos coming back, I think Marte is going to play a little more DH, especially because Jared Young's not in there. That's really the only spot that he could play. Ronnie Mauricio is going to get some run there too. Vientos is going to get some run there too. It will be more of a revolving door, but Marte hitting 7th with a 108 OPS plus, that helps. That helps a ton. We're not the biggest Starling Marte fans on this podcast, but in terms of quality ABs, he's actually having a decent enough season where he is very much worth rostering and worth at the bottom of the order being a guy. I don't want to see him hit 2 ever again on this team. We can't keep doing that, especially with the way that Brandon Nimmo's been swinging the bat over the last month. He looks so much more comfortable in the 2-hole. It's crazy what the numbers are when he hits there versus everywhere else. Marte down the order. McNeil's your 5 right now, or maybe even 6, I guess, depending on that. We have Jesse Winker coming back at some point too.
Which will help a lot.
The reinforcements are coming. I think right now the biggest thing that the Mets need to address. I don't even think it's third base because I think between Vientos, Mauricio, Baty, I think we can find a way to make those three guys work at one position, which sounds crazy, but I do. I think center field, and as amazing as Tyrone Taylor has been defensively this year, he's been awesome. The plays that he's making out there have been Gold Glove caliber. You see the problem with playing him every single day. One, he looks exhausted. I don't think he's ever played this many games in this many days at the major league level as consistently as he is. But two, he's been a major hole in this lineup along with the catching position with Torrens and Alvarez. Those are the two major holes, and I don't think you're able to address the catching situation and improve upon that. But you can improve upon center field. It doesn't have to be Luis Robert if you guys are nervous about him, but Cedric Mullins is out there, and he is the perfect foil platoon with Tyrone Taylor. I think that's got to be the number one guy they circle right now.
It's at least one of them. And you can afford two holes in a lineup when the rest of the lineup is that good. But that would have to come with better production from Baty, Vientos, Mauricio. Again, this to me is more about one of those guys taking this, like becoming it. We thought that Baty was doing it for a month. Then he had a bad month. He's swinging the bat better lately. Mauricio sometimes flashes and you're just like, your jaw drops and you're like, this is it. This is going to be him. You guys in the comment section, overwhelmingly of this crew, Mauricio is your guy's favorite, even though he overwhelmingly probably has some of the worst stats. Brady definitely still has the worst stats, but right now Mauricio, at least until Jared Young returns, until Jesse Winker returns, with Jared Young being sent down, he's kind of Jared Young right now.
Yes.
Because what we've seen from Mauricio this year, we talked about Matt Eddy a few episodes ago, he's such a better hitter from the left side compared to the right side.
He's really bad right-handed.
He's really bad right-handed hitter. It's the kind of thing that maybe he should stop doing that at some point. But if against a right-handed pitcher, we're going to see a lot of Ronnie Mauricio in this lineup, especially because Jeff McNeil is somewhat given the Mets more confidence with him in center field. I know now without Griffin Canning, it's another ground ball guy out of this rotation. Frankie Montas is a fly ball guy. I do not think we're going to see as much Jeff McNeil in center field with Montas on the mound. At least I hope not, because again, while we are happy about Jeff McNeil, I think he's a passable center fielder. Yes. He's not going out and getting any. I know he made that great catch, the home run robbery on Wednesday as well, but like the comparison of him, Jankowski, Tyrone Taylor in center, it's obvious that Jeff's in there for his bat, not the glove. I do think that's someone just has to wake up.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Out of those three, who do you think by the end of the year is the favorite of playing third base? Who's the guy who's performing the best? Who takes that position? Because regardless of whether or not like someone becomes like actually very like competent hitter or whatever, it's going to be someone's position at some point. You can't just kind of keep rotating three guys for the rest of the season. It feels kind of untenable. Who's the guy that you think is going to be like at the end of the season when we get to the playoffs? Who's going to be playing third base?
I think that just based on the law of averages, because this guy doesn't have an option, because Winker comes back, someone has to go down. I still will lean on Mark Vientos because he's the only one we've seen do it for more than a few weeks straight at the major league level. But Ronnie is the one I just keep dreaming on. I think Baty has the highest floor. Like I still do think they all bring something very different to the table. And while we are talking about the Starling Marte hitting two situation, somehow this year his splits are so much worse against lefties compared to righties.
Really?
Yes, it's only 70 plate appearances against lefties with only 100 against righties, which are not, you guys know how much I hate splits, not really indicative of anything. But it's only 640 OPS against the lefties, no 68 plate appearances. Against the righties, it's like a 740, which is, to me, that I understand like he should be a better hitter against lefties, but Vientos is going to play every single time we face a lefty, and he's going to be on this roster the rest of the season. So he's going to have the most opportunities to turn himself into something. Baty really can't see the lefties, and Mauricio definitely should not see the lefties.
No.
So whenever we see a lefty on the mound, when Jesse Winker's healthy, because he's going to take either Baty or Mauricio spot in this roster, that's who's going to be in. It's going to be Mark Vientos playing. So he's playing third base likely because we don't want either of those other guys starting. So that's another hurdle Vientos has to climb, but I don't know, maybe these couple weeks off cleared his head. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I know he didn't hit that great in his rehab assignment, which I was really hoping he just mashed down there in Syracuse because him and Baty one day are going to have the numbers retired up there in Syracuse. But it's hard for me to tell who's going to be because they keep throwing Mauricio out there. They hit righty and he sucks, but someone just has to do it. Or Alvarez comes back and kind of shocks the world, does it. One of those four guys, one of these prospects has to become a reliable player within the next couple of months. Or this team's not, I don't know if this team's going to get, no way to get as far as they did last year, truthfully.
No, you're going to need a definitely more complete lineup, especially because, and I think I made a joke about this last night at the game. Everyone talks about like it doesn't make sense how the Mets are not able to score runs. They have one of the highest on base percentages in baseball, but they have one of the lowest slugging percentages. I was like, yeah, because you can walk 3, 4, 5, and then you have three guys up, and you're like, oh, they're below average hitters. They're not going to drive these guys. And you could load the bases. And if you gave me Luis Torrens and Tyrone Taylor up, I'd be like probably getting out of it. Like, I think there's a really good chance no run score. And how many times does it feel like that happened? Of course, Lindor and Soto don't have high batting averages with runners in scoring position. We know that. We're aware. That's going to fix. But a lot of the times, like when Soto walks or Pete walks or McNeil, who's been walking a ton, by the way, his walk rates are crazy up this year.
Because he's no one hitting behind him.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem, though. That's why it's like, how can't the Mets score? They get on base so much. Well, it's because there's nobody else after those guys. That's the biggest issue.
Well, if you're a normal human, you can't speak English to your pup. But what you can do to understand what they love, which is Spot and Tango Unkibble, is to see how they react when you put the Unkibble in the bowl. And my pup, Penelope, loves it. So does Bella.
Well, Bella speaks Spanish, so she says, muy bien. I love this stuff.
She says, wow, Dad, thanks for creating a custom plan based on my age, weight, breed, and activity level. You nailed it. And also, it's made with 100% whole fresh ingredients like real USDA meats, fruits, and veggies, but it's 40% less expensive than frozen food. So upgrade your pet's bowl with Spot and Tango Unkibble. And for a limited time, go to spotandtango.com/foul and use code FOUL for 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/foul, code FOUL to get 50% off your first order.
Well, then that's really the question, because on the other side of this whole conversation we're having is this where the Mets are going to go after, be aggressive on the trade deadline? And besides Eugenio Suarez, like who else is even an option there? Because I think this is such a seller's market right now. It's almost insane. Like the teams that are bad don't really have any hitters to trade because they're bad.
Well,
there's like 22 teams in baseball who are going to play, shot to make the playoffs.
Did you catch the Jeff Passan and Kylie McDaniel article where they ranked the top 50? Did you see there's a third baseman on there that they are predicting more likely than not will be traded at this deadline? I won't believe it until it happens. But your favorite owner in Major League Baseball, Dick Monfort, apparently might be ready to move on from Ryan McMahon. And if he is available, I want him. I want Ryan McMahon.
How badly do you really want Ryan McMahon? Because I know Ryan McMahon is doing the same thing he does this year, he does every year, which is like a 10-15% better hit than league average with much better
great defense,
much better stats under the hood than actually what happens. Because Ryan McMahon, like you guys get pissed off with strikeouts. Ryan McMahon strikes out so much. He takes big hats and he swings and misses often. But he knows the pitch to swing at. He doesn't really chase. He does hit the ball really, really hard. Like I think that Ryan McMahon for the next few years can be a guy here. But I think I'd rather Eugenio Suarez.
Well, okay. Yes, definitely. I think I also would rather Eugenio Suarez. I don't know how 100% sure they're going to trade him.
I think that even if they don't sell, I think they're selling him.
Okay.
Because it's very obvious that they want to give Jordan Lawler a chance, and Jordan Lawler has no spot in that team. And Eugenio Suarez on a 1-year deal. And while it might be fun for the Diamondbacks to kind of scratch and claw their way into a wild card spot, they clearly don't have a team that can make another run like they did a few years ago. They're definitely a player or two short there, but they're also not in a position to buy with Zach Allen looking horrible.
But then you also have
Corbin Burns injured.
Eugenio Suarez is going to be a hot guy too, where it's
that's what I'm saying. He's going to cost significantly more, but I think those two are very different in what they'll get in the trade market because McMahon has a good contract and he's probably more. We say this about Eugenio Suarez every single season, but then he just keeps mashing. But like McMahon, if you ask me right now who I'd rather have on the team, it's Suarez. But if you ask me next year who I'd rather have on the team, it's McMahon. But I think the Mets are still going to continue to give these three infielders every single chance next year, the year after that, while they're cheap and under team control. So I do think that they would probably prefer the ability to mix and match rather than lock in a guy like McMahon for the next few years.
I'm trying to see
who also, again, is a left-handed batter. I think this team really desperately needs a right-handed batter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Nolan Arenado is going to be traded.
Seems too good.
Yeah, I don't care about Ramon Urias. Like, who cares? Just play the guys that we have. And then Yoan Moncada, that's probably the only other third baseman. I don't want him.
I'll tell you this, isn't Urias a major lefty masher? Isn't that his thing?
I believe that is his calling card, but like at the same time, I don't know. Wouldn't you rather just...
You want Romy Gonzalez?
Oh, God, no.
But there probably is the best version of this Mets team getting a guy like, even if you get Suarez, like putting a guy like Urias on it. Like if
Ramon Urias has a 777 OPS against lefties this year, but majority of his plate appearances have been against righties. He's just playing every day. This is bizarre.
He's playing every day now. Or as much as that Orioles team wanted to kill him, he will not die. He even hit second or fourth on most days. But if Brett Baty can't find consistency in the next 3 weeks,
Yeah, you have to start looking
he
elsewhere.
probably just won't be on this roster for the stretch run. I know he does a lot of things well, and defensively this year he's been
Great.
for lack of a better term, an ace. But until he can actually consistently hit the ball with authority, which if you want to reach the World Series, you can't have a guy playing every day with 270 on base percentage. You just can't have that. He's right now right on that line where it's like, can you be a player to trust moving forward? But like being on that line, it means it's not really there yet. If you want to get to the spot you want to get to, like rest of the season, I'd rather have you Ramon Urias than Brett Baty, truthfully.
Yeah, probably. I think so, but I also
it's also a better roster fit because he can also play second and third, not as well as Baty, but I think right now I'm here. I'm looking for the bat more than I'm looking for the glove.
Now, what if I told you that Ramon Urias over the last 28 days has like a 600 OPS?
I know, but I mean, it's never day play. Like I don't know how this whole podcast became the Ramon Urias show, but
that's talking about third baseman.
That's what I'm saying. But that's where it's at right now. Where like this is more reminiscent to that 2015 team, where I'm like, give me a Uribe, give me a Kelly Johnson.
Oh, I'd love Juan Uribe would be so good on this team.
That's what I'm saying. Like we need to find, I think, the equivalents of those guys to complete this. Of course, we do not have Jacob DeGrom, Noah Syndergaard, Matt Harvey in the rotation.
No, miss some big pieces.
Yeah, but like that's
they didn't have Juan Soto.
That's true. That's what this Mets team needs right now. I think if none of these guys can assert themselves in the next few weeks, you have to get some major league hitters, and that should be the thing that might be the easiest to acquire. Similar to getting Jesse Winker last season.
Yeah.
Like how big were those Jesse Winker at bats during the playoffs? And Jesse Winker is going to be in lineup every single time you face a righty. But against left-handed pitching, there's a hole on this team. If Mark Vientos is not hitting, Starling Marte is not really hitting with authority. Like how do you lengthen this lineup against a lefty?
Yeah, you got to get some right-handed bats. That's really what it is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they have to be able to find that. Like you want to get
a lot of right-handed bats available on the
that's
market.
What I'm saying. There's not a lot at all. Like that's going to be, I think, the biggest challenge.
A lot of great corner
David
outfielders.
I get Rob Refsnyder. I'm telling you, like if you can get a cheap Rob Refsnyder, Romy Gonzalez, and the Red Sox team, that you could probably convince Craig Breslow to do anything right now. Like that has to be the avenue because I think that's what this team is missing the most. Which should be the easiest thing to find. The Padres have gone 7 years without being able to have a consistent right-handed bat in a corner outfield spot. But like that's, to me, looking at this roster right now and hoping and praying that Minaya and Kodai come back, and that could be our 5, like we said at the top of the show. Like that's the most absolute gaping hole in this roster right now. It's another consistent. I want a right-handed Jesse Winker. Like, why can't we find that?
Okay, I'm in on that. You can sell me on right-handed Jesse Winker. Again, Eugenio Suarez, I think, should be the top of the list. 100%.
He's top of everyone's list.
But that's the problem. So you're in a bidding war. But also, how high does this bidding war actually get for a 35-year-old third baseman who's a free agent next year? How high does it actually get?
He's not 35 yet.
I think he's 34, right?
I thought he's 32. But also, he's also having one of the best seasons of his career at the moment.
He's popping off. He's
33.
33 turns 34 on July 18th.
Nice. Nailed it.
Nice.
At the buzzer.
On the Diamondbacks on his birthday, yes or no?
July 18th, yeah. He'll go straight. He'll go to the wire because they probably want to thread the needle, but they still want to use him to win as many games as possible. But then call up Jordan Lawler for August 1st. What?
Venezuelan connection as well. Carlos Mendoza.
I'm saying just bring all the Latins to this team. That's what we have to do to beat the Dodgers. But there has to be a right-handed hitter that comes through because or just maybe Vientos just shows up and does it again.
Which would be really cool. That's also
nice.
The easy way to handle this is Mark Vientos just remembers how to hit like he did last year.
But we haven't really seen anything from Mark Vientos this season that makes me think that's possible.
No,
if he went to AAA and had 9 homers and 17 at-bats, I'd be like, yep, let's go. Ready to rumble. But
let's go.
As of right now, we're not really close to that at all.
Is there I'm looking at the teams that are kind of just hanging around a little bit right now that could possibly move on from somebody.
It's such a seller's market that it would definitely behoove some of these teams to try and sell. Like we know if the Royals had a right-handed hitter, he'd be in their lineup, so we definitely can't use that. Is there a White Sox?
No.
Is there a veteran right-handed hitter in the White Sox? Probably not.
And if he is, do you want him? Seriously? It's really
here's a weird one because this team can make a run at the wild card spot, but they're definitely not going anywhere past that. What would it take to trade for Byron Buxton right now? Because I think I would run into traffic with joy if Byron Buxton was on this team. But I also know how volatile he is as a player.
And there it is. That's the thing that scares me the most about him. And he is also under contract through 2028, and he's getting paid. Contract. He's getting paid. Well, it's only $15 million a year. It's actually not bad. But
remember, he has all those crazy incentives for all-stars and MVPs and all that crazy stuff.
The thing that scares me about Byron Buxton, and until he does it, I won't believe that he ever can.
Playing.
He played 140 games in 2017. And the next most games he's played in his career was last year at 102. He simply has not played more than 103 games since 2017 when he was 23 years old. He is now 31, going to turn 32 in December. So you're stuck with that contract, as well as just the fact that he gets hurt if the wind blows too hard. That's what scares me about him. But hey,
of course,
if they're like, we'll take anything for him. Yes, of course. Go take that shot, because he's a guy that would legitimately transform what's going on with this Mets roster right now.
It also is funny how injured Byron Buxton has been. And I'm going to read you guys off every single body part that Byron Buxton has missed a game with since the beginning of the 2021 season. And it's going to be hilarious. But there's a trend that I'm going to call out. But
muscles?
Elbow. Oh, yeah. Get ready for this. This is going to be, this might be like, this can be some bad podcasting. 45 seconds of body parts. Elbow, head, hip, back, forearm, knee, hamstring, back, ribs, leg, hip, knee, hip, knee, hand, hip, knee, hamstring, illness.
I mean, that's a shocking amount of injuries.
It's a lot of different body parts there. But again, when the guys are chronically injured, the thing that makes me think they're going to get injured again, besides being injured in the past, which Buxton has done with flying colors, being injured in the past, it's the consistent soft tissue stuff. He doesn't have the consistent soft tissue stuff. It's Byron Buxton sliding weird or running into somebody or smashing into the wall. And then the Twins thought they could fix that 2 years ago by being like, let's just DH you and let you hit. But he didn't really know how to be a DH. I think he was just and he was bad. He didn't know what to do with himself, kinetic energy. But then he put him back in the field last year. He played really well in the 100 games he played. And now this year just looks like a stud. I hope he gets his way to the All-Star game. But isn't this what this team kind of needs? Take a shot. But that's why we keep talking about Luis Robert. I know you guys hate that, but it's like lightning in a bottle. Make something fucking crazy happen. And those guys are both right-handed hitters. Like Luis
Robert is either going to go on a Cespedes run or he's cut within weeks. Like, that's the options. And either one, I'm okay with the risk, because the ceiling could legitimately change the way that this season ends.
People liked this last time, so we're going to do it again. Read one of the fantastic, unique, creative dishes on HelloFresh. Creamy Alfredo truffle cavatappi pasta?
Cavatappi, maybe? But I'll just go with the Indian-inspired chicken paired with turmeric rice. That sounds awesome. Everything about this is delicious, fresh, comes in a little bag. And I like to cook, so I like to chop up the ingredients. I like to throw stuff in the pan, mix it up. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, Scott, and they always come out amazing.
Yes, you can be a star at home with America's #1 meal kit. Make your summer enjoyable and delicious by signing up for HelloFresh at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM and get 10 free meals with a free item for life. That's HelloFresh.com/FT10FM for 10 free meals and a free item in every box. 1 per box with an active subscription. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan.
And there's going to be a moment where some of these AL teams, because the AL fucking sucks so badly, are just like, it's not worth it. Just who cares about getting our doors blown off by the Yankees in the divisional round again?
Yeah. Yankees or Astros.
That's what it is. Like, because Yankees and Astros, oh my God, I can't believe these teams are back on the collision course. But like, the Guardians aren't good. The Twins are not good. The Royals suck. The Angels are going to be here tooth and nail to the end. The Rangers just put in a call for JD Martinez to try and save the season.
Wait, what?
They offered him a non-guaranteed contract. Apparently, he's considering it.
He's done with pickleball. I guess that was a short-lived career.
Maybe he knows he can go back to it, but like that, like these guys are bad. Like, but also the Rangers don't really have a right-handed bat to trade. I mean, again, Adolis Garcia probably plays on this well, but we need someone with some defensive value because we got too.
And he can't play center.
Can't play right. Like we're too tight right now with all these guys with no position, especially if Vientos doesn't hit. Vientos will be on the roster because he has no option, but the Vientos, Baty, Mauricio trio, like that's who we need to improve upon before the stretch run, mostly, and probably get. I don't even see this unless it's Sandy. Like I don't even see his team going back to starting pitcher. Well, honestly,
yeah,
I see reliever and right-handed bat.
It would have been Pablo Lopez, but he's hurt, so that's not happening. I think that would have been the guy that they would have kind of pushed the chips in for a little bit.
But you need to push chips in for Pablo Lopez, like
correct,
serious chips. And like as of right now, it's not. I don't think it's going to happen. It's just
he's hurt. Yeah, you wouldn't make that trade.
It's Sandy is the one, and then besides him, it's just like we did the whole pitcher episode a few weeks ago. We gave some good options.
Freddie Peralta's not available. Surely,
the Brewers are going to go to the playoffs and see how many rounds they can win, like they do every single year. Like that, they keep playing well. The team's 9 games over 500. It's a good
And
baseball team.
this version of Zach Allen, how much better is he than what we have right now?
Not much, I don't think at all. Like,
Yes.
I mean, Paul Blackburn and Zach Allen, who you got rest of the season?
Well, Zach Allen for sure.
Yeah.
But then like Merrill Kelly on that team. The one interesting guy that I would like them to take a look at, we mentioned it before, is Seth Lugo.
Yeah, for sure. But Lugo's also been good this year, not great.
Yeah.
And I think he's under contract for another year, and I think the Royals still want to make the playoffs next year.
Yes,
I don't know.
That ownership wants to win, despite the fact that they didn't go out and get anybody good as that was a hitter this offseason.
Sure, but last year they did go deep in free agency and they did add some guys. But I think they're trying hard. Like which is more we can say about some of these other teams. Like I think the Twins, I don't even think they signed one free agent.
They did not.
Guardians,
They signed Harrison Bader.
Yeah, Harrison Bader. The Guardians just got rid of Josh Naylor. Well, they really could use another bat in that lineup. It's just these AL teams they're so content with mediocrity, and all of them can make the playoffs. That's hard to find a trade partner. But it's like I don't really want Lane Thomas, but that seems like someone that we definitely could acquire. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's kind of where we're at right now. Unless Vientos steps up, that vacancy will not be filled by right-handed power bat in this roster.
So then let's talk about the bullpen, because we talked about starting pitcher ad nauseum. And again, if Jacob deGrom's available and wants to come back to New York, me and James will pick him up. We'll fly the plane. I'll get Nathan Fielder.
Fly the plane. We're driving to Texas, baby. We're doing live Mets up on the freeway. Highway US 40.
Would that be a funny bit if the Mets trade for Jacob deGrom? We drive to Dallas and we drive back.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it. Yeah, sure.
Would you do that for Jacob deGrom?
Yeah,
obviously we're not picking him up, but we're just me and you.
I can write my Roller World articles in the car at my hotspot. That's fine.
All right. I'll throw that out there. You guys can let us know if you like that idea.
Because again, like with the bullpen, like we said, like there's confidence, but the team definitely needs a hammer. We know that for a fact.
It would be cool to have a real 8th inning setup man to lead to Edwin Diaz.
Whether it be Helsley, but I don't think he's getting traded. But I keep definitely going back to Bednar. Like that's the name over and over again who keeps coming up for me because I think he's definitely going to be traded.
You think
he's been one of the best relievers in baseball this season? Yeah, Bob Nutting said out loud. He didn't say out loud, but there was a report that went out from Nightingale. They were looking into trades for David Bednar, and he's a dog. Like he's an animal. Like he come in this game, and like you feel like you have a second closer, and then that moving everyone down a little bit. Like being able to use Reed Garrett in the 6th inning and not being scared about it. If Daniel Nunez is back, which I pray good. I pray that God unlocked. Did you see the tweet from Diana that the Hefner smirking when Nunez was pitching yesterday? He gave off a little like smile. Like
that was
the guy's back.
What he was doing. You're like, oh baby, that's one of the best relievers in baseball right there. There he is.
I hit you in the arm. I was like 99. You see the 99. See the 18 IVB. See the going right now. But like if he can get back to that spot, like that does change this a lot. But it still doesn't dissuade me from the fact that they do still need a hammer in that bullpen. And that shouldn't be a very difficult thing to acquire. Now we have farm system depth, so we can do it.
I mean, okay, so let's think about some possible big arms that they could get in the bullpen. I'm going to start in the American League East. It's Aroldis Chapman's probably the guy we want the most, right?
Sure, but I don't see this Mets front office, this Mets team going and bringing a guy like Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Although they do parade around Jose Reyes, but...
True, but he's been at SNY a few times this week. But
and he's also playing in the alumni game, so
I still don't see it happening. But oh man, Danielle 99 yesterday.
Orioles, we're not getting Felix Bautista. That's not happening.
It would be Seranthony would be the guy. Seranthony or
but is he better than Reed Garrett? No,
but having another Reed Garrett would be cool.
Sure. From the White Sox, there's nobody.
No, there's some guys in that White Sox pen.
Not to be that hammer though.
Not to be the hammer, but some guys that we're saying they need a hammer, but I don't know if David Stearns thinks they're going to need a hammer. You know what I mean?
True.
I still think that like he's going to be more dexterous going after a bullpen arm rather than going at trading big assets for a Bednar.
There has been crazy kind of heat recently about Juan Duran in Minnesota.
I mean, he's so much team control left. Like you'd
give up a top prospect for him, I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. You would have to give up one of our top 5 prospects to get him.
Would you or no?
Probably not. An injury-riddled closer? No.
Is he injury-riddled?
I mean, there were so many arm problems. That's why he's a closer, not a starter.
Yeah, but since he's been a closer in the majors, he's made 59 appearances every single season.
You're not wrong about that. But I don't see, if again, in the proverbial hammer context that we're talking about, I see it being a 1-year rental. I do not see David Stearns dropping a future starting player on reliever.
Is Kyle Finnegan that guy?
He's definitely not a hammer, though. Like Kyle Finnegan's he's not a closer by choice. He's a closer by need.
I think this is what you have, though. I don't think this guy exists right now. Who is it?
Would you rather have Seranthony Dominguez or Kyle Finnegan?
Oh, Seranthony's so weird, but the stuff's much better. So Seranthony.
But that's what I'm saying. I think I'd rather have Seranthony as well. Like I think that's where we have to shop. Someone who's not fully been unlocked yet. Like, is there an older reliever on the Athletics? Probably not. The Angels are not getting anybody.
Would you? Okay, it's not. Let's just have some fun. There's no way Mason Miller is available, right?
I think he's definitely available.
So then, okay, would you make some big trades for him right now? Like, would you trade 2 top 5 prospects for Mason Miller and maybe another guy? You use him as a reliever this year, and then he try to get him back to the starter thing?
Whoa, I don't know, maybe, but I don't see Mason Miller and Yohan Duran as that different. I still, again, company
Really?
line.
Okay.
I don't think that David Stearns dropping a hammer on a reliever with team control like that.
But he's the different one because it's like he could be a starter again.
Duran can too.
I guess
why can't Duran be a
technically.
starter?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I guess.
That's
And we
what
did
I'm
with Clay
saying, yeah.
Holmes. Why not?
Yeah, let's have some fun at this point. But Chapman's the one that fits the best, obviously, but I just don't see them doing that. I mean, people are rumoring Fairbanks. I can't see the Rays with one of the best records of baseball trading Pete Fairbanks at this point.
But also, I could because he's a free agent, and they're like, let's cash in. Like we
why
we have
not?
100 Pete Fairbanks. What do we need him for?
Yeah, the big problem with teams that suck is that they don't have that many good relievers.
Yes, usually the teams that are bad have issues
bad.
winning games, and they can't close them out when they get a lead.
That's why the guy that continues to stick out for me is Bednar running away. I mean, maybe any of the Royals guys, like they could probably trade Estevez after what happened, like after signing him.
Yeah, I mean, what's his contract?
I think it's 2. I want to say 2 for 20.
2 years with a team option. 2 for 22.
Okay,
It could be him.
That's a good one. He's pitched really well again this season. Like he's a very good late inning reliever.
Definitely
he hasn't
could
been
be
as
them.
successful not pitching in the 9th inning, but you might have to say, hey man, get over it. Like,
Yeah,
we're
figure
trying
it
to win
out,
some
buddy.
games.
Although he might have
You re-
PTSD in Citi Field. I don't know.
I don't know. Then we'll have him talk to Francisco Lindor. Be like, hey, I'm sorry, buddy. But like that's a guy that stands out to me at that point. Like otherwise, like looking at the Twins bullpen, but again, like are the Twins going to be stingy? Like they just extended Rocco Baldelli.
Yeah,
Like,
which
this
is
a team that
crazy.
but they're a team that probably wants to make the playoffs. They want the good press. Like this, while just being a disaster of a team management wise. Like you're not getting a guy like Griffin Jackson, you're not getting Louis Varland. Like these are good relievers in that bullpen. Danny Coulomb, the GOAT, my guy. Like that's more of a crafty lefty than a hammer.
The Marlins have anybody? Anyone?
It's
Nationals
Ronnie,
have anyone?
it's Ronnie Henriquez and it's Fauché, but those are also guys with much more team control. But maybe it's similar to Brazoban, but I think the league was like just got Brazoban's like a mid-3s, low-4s ERA guy. Like Nationals, you want to try and unlock Jose Ferrer? Like that you could try and do that, but you want to undergo a project. That would be more like how we acquired Stanek last year, but we only got to acquire Stanek because he made too much money.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where that is too. And the guys like that, like what team
Market's
went
so
out?
weird.
It's a seller's market. The expanded playoffs kind of. It's really good for the bad teams, even the really bad. It's really good for the bad teams. It's really good for the mid teams, which is the whole reason they did it. Which is the whole reason I hate it. But one of these teams has to become opportunistic. We haven't really seen many opportunistic mid teams. The one team actually that was the Orioles 2 years ago, and now they probably wish they would have had one more shot at the playoffs. But they were able to trade. Who was that they traded? Wasn't the bat to get Yanier Cano, who had 2 good seasons, now is bad again.
They got. I'm gonna look up Yanier Cano real quick. What they did for him.
It was like a shocking trade at the time. People were like, we can't believe it now,
And he got sent down now. He stinks.
That's what I'm saying. He's been stinking this year, but the last 2 years, he was one of the best relievers in baseball.
Came from the Twins. They traded Jorge Lopez to the Twins, and they got him.
It was the Jorge Lopez who was a good middle reliever to get the next good middle reliever. Jorge Lopez, man, always comes back to Jorge Lopez. Like the Red Sox, yeah. And the Red Sox also, to save face, I think they're going to go balls to the wall to try and make.
They kind of have to.
Like you kind of have to give it a shot, even though I saw their team OPS TJ Stats tweet since the Devers trade, it's like 570.
It's bad.
It'd be nice to have another hitter in the middle of that lineup. It's just these teams are bad for reasons, so it's hard to find. I do trust that David Stearns is going to be much more meticulous about this than you and I live during this podcast, but it's a situation where the obvious thing is that this Mets team needs a hammer reliever, but there's not many available. So you got to try and make one in the aggregate.
Yeah, who God.
To me, it's Sir Anthony or Ferrer.
Okay, I guess we'll have to wait and see. That's what's fun about the trade deadline. And we are still literally a month away. We're going to get so many rumors over the next few weeks. And anytime we do, we'll probably hop on and do an episode for you guys and completely break it down and talk about it at absolute nauseum because it's what baseball podcasts do. Anything else to talk about in this episode? Just about the second half, how we're feeling?
Again, like the way how badly this team has played, I still feel good. Like I still feel fine. I'm happy we banked all those wins. Now we can kind of try and get ourselves hot again. I do think there's a long season. We've learned that firsthand over the last month, but it's hard not to be confident in this team. It's hard not to be confident in the people making decisions and running the show between Stearns and Mendoza here. Like I'm confident in this team, and like we're not one of the best teams in baseball for a reason, record wise. Like shout out Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. You can't really take that away from the Mets right now.
No,
it's gonna be a dogfight with the Phillies Like, I'm excited for the second half. Like, I think it's a quick half, though. Quick 82 games.
Quick, fast. I was like, oh my God, we're almost at the All-Star break. What's going on?
Yeah, fast 82 games. But
Remember
you guys
signing Juan Soto.
tell us how you guys feel about this team in the comments. But this has been fun. Like, this is why we do it. Like, this is a great team. For all the ups and downs. Like, I've had a fun 82 games.
It's going to be an electric 80 games the rest of the way. It's going to be so much fun. We got the Brewers and Yankees coming to town after this road trip to Pittsburgh. That's going to be some good baseball. Brewers have been playing better than almost anybody right now in the league, and the Yankees are scuffling a little bit like the Mets, but we know that roster is still very good in Subway Series. 4th of July, pretty hype.
Yeah, thinking about doing next train episode, like we said on the last train, July 5th after the 4 o'clock game at Citi Field against the Yankees. So that'll be probably a much more chaotic one, being the Subway Series. But if you guys want to come on with us, chop it up on the train, last train on the 7 card, July 5th against the Yankees.
Yep, and I think that's pretty much it for this episode. We got a little Frankie Peppers, right, to send us out.
Good memory. I totally forgot. We didn't do Frankie at the end of the Brave series just because we were on the train. But I got Frankie Peppers coming at you right here.
All right, give me Frankie. I'm sure he's got good words of encouragement after the Brave split.
Gentlemen, this is Frankie Peppers. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's weird. Getting the split is good, especially when the boys have been playing as poorly as they have. But Griffin Canning going down is just really unfortunate. But I do have some good news. It seems that the boys are winning some games. My cat got sick. She's all backed up, a little girl. She's not eating. She's a 13-year-old cat. She's wonderful. She's my favorite thing in the world. And it turns out when the Mets win, my cat eats. For the past 2 days, my cat did not eat food by herself for like a week and a half. I've had to force feed her out of a little bottle. She ate it yesterday and today. I should say, if you watch these, if you listen to the show late on Wednesday and Thursday, the Mets won. My girl ate. So I'm really grateful. I hope Griffin Canning is okay. And yeah, boys, I think that's about it for now. So let's go, Mets. I hope you're doing well. I'm a little sick. I'm also getting better. So we'll talk to you boys soon. Take care.
I will say, do you remember original TikTok days, the dog that had Bones days or no Bones days? And it was like Bones Day is a good day. There was a dog on TikTok that was incredibly viral, a very, very old dog. And sometimes he could get up out of bed and it was called a Bones Day because he had bones. And then there was other days where he'd try and he'd collapse because he had no bones. And Bones Days were good. Maybe this is what Frankie's cat is. When the cat eats, good day for the Mets.
I can't believe the journey that Frankie takes us on every single time. But happy to include him in this episode. Also, I wanted to give one more shout out because we didn't get doing the train yesterday. Keith Rad, friend of the show, Sunday Night Baseball last week against the Phillies. He was doing that series with Pat McCarthy. Pat McCarthy's wife. Congratulations to him and his wife.
Oh yeah,
the birth of their child. Went to labor somewhat suddenly. He had to leave the stadium at 5:30, leaving Keith to do a solo broadcast.
Hell yeah.
A one-man show for a 3-hour game in which the Mets were completely not competitive.
No.
So shout out Keith Rad for that. That is an impossible endeavor. Did his best Scully impression. Howie had great words of affirmation, encouragement for him during the game on Monday I listened to on the beach. That was really cool. Keith was able to pull that off. He's really coming into his own as a broadcaster. I listen a lot of Mets games on the radio. The same way that Howie used to talk about Wayne Randazzo, that's kind of what he's bestowing that with Keith. So it's nice to see that the next iteration is he's just doing a great job.
Yeah, I was going to say, whenever Howie does step away and retire eventually at some point, we're going to be in good hands with Keith. He's an absolute beast out there.
But I think similar to Wayne, I think Keith's going to find another home probably at some point because he's a tremendous announcer.
Yeah, he's too good. Hopefully he sticks around, but
hopefully he does.
That's all we got for you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel. Listen to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
And I'm Draftneck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening and watching. We will catch you all after the Pirates series. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets, guys.